I thought it's all about just sitting down, close your eyes, meditate, and then one day I will close my eyes and I'll open them and I'll be enlightened. It's just I need to decide, like one day I will decide, I will meditate instead of 40 minutes, an hour. This 20 minutes will make a radical difference. It will break me free. No, instead, stuff had to come out of all my pores, virtually, literally. And as it was spinning itself out, I could smell something burning outside in the autumn. In Uzbekistan, they burn leaves. Only to realize it's the friction of my butt against the mattress. Yeah, it was burning, like literally, as the fabric starts to smell as if it's about to ignite,
I've just been flipping over my head today around, is there a greater value of like the different vocalizations or some of the, more intense kriyas versus being in absorption? I was just curious about that.
Can you be more specific a little bit?
I've noticed the longer I'm meditating, the more I'm going into absorption and just into awareness, and less activity. And then everyone around, it's like these incredible people are singing to each other, you know what I mean? I'm feeling a little envious. Wow, is that another level, or does it matter? Is that, is the absorption state, I know, is very precious. But I'm just curious, the functioning of transformation of consciousness, if one is, I know it's all designed perfectly for that person, but anyway, I don't know if that's clear.
Well, we will speak this as a continuation of our discourses. That's the whole, well, it's part of the discourse. What we have started earlier today during the day, as we continue, we will inevitably go to Samavesha versus Samadhi, right? How do they stand in relation to each other? But more specifically in what happens in the immersions like this, is that how it displays itself is not a goal at all. It's simply what manifests. And this manifestation is manifold in a sense of what is happening. So the deeper is the field, the more there is a propensity to be brought to the surface. What to the surface? What kind of things being brought? Well, first of all, anything that is encountered there in terms of as unprocessed information, which caused or created a nodule, a tight spot, a stress, a deep-seated trauma, all that has the chance to come to the surface and get dissolved. So this, if you ask what for you is, let's say, in a nutshell, if you were interviewing, this is an interview, and describe this, why to do this work at all? What will be let's say, the purpose of gathering like this? What's the goal? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? Right? So, and it will have to be accessible to, let's say, to more or less a general public, which is not easy, of course, because there has to be some kind of shared language. But let's say the opportunity is granted. We have a good selected audience and such questions presented. So what we're doing here is diving as deep as we can to agitate consciousness, to shake consciousness at the deepest level, so that when that is done, when this is possible, when certain level is reached, it then will reverberate for each and every individual involved, for the environment, and for the time to come. So therefore, what happens in the program is not like how am I individually benefiting here, although that of course is part and parcel of this. So therefore, it's not even who is more explicitly experiencing something, who is more vocal, and who is just doing, let's say, a silent dance of mudras, or someone who is like, whose body is moving in postures, or someone who is, let's say, unloading the system. It cannot be measured like that. At the surface value, it might be like, oh, like, someone's have this angelic, hits the notes, and must be some, must be an advanced practitioner, or the advanced process. That also would be a mistake to ascribe that to that. And eventually, this will give so much easy access for all of us involved in this together. Whenever you access field of being on your own, this is proven. Like you come out of the immersion, things may, particularly for those for whom this is still new, but you have already these experiences. You go home, and it's a different level. It's a completely different level. This hum is left. This resonance is left there. You see? And all it takes is just tapping to that. Just tapping to that. So there is no such thing as, because this is often asked, and particularly by those who completely sit still, do not display anything. Am I missing on something? See? Well, maybe if you are not, if this sitting still is not accompanied by something what internally happening, which is not detectable to an open eye or ear, because something is happening. But it's not like, if the point was just to go into the absorption, going into the meditation where we are in Samadhi, then we would have done that. But something else is happening. And I gave it a repeated example based on my own life, that when I meditated for 5 years without missing one meditation, twice a day, everything speak and span. I thought that that's how you transit naturally into nirvana and enlightenment. I literally thought, this is it. This is it. You just, one day, you just go into meditation, and you come out of meditation enlightened. It was just that, because each time I come out of meditation, it was blissful, invigorating, creative, what have you. And then the whole thing exploded. And there was no such thing as sitting in meditation. None. Instead, it was 2 years of just non-stop pranayama, unstoppable breathing. Well, first, like a few weeks, there were lots of movements and this and that, but but then it's all happened at the level of diaphragm, in, concaved, in, breathing. That's all, 2 years. And only after the 2 years, there was this tremendous shift, and something else began to happen. There was this deep, deep entrance into the domain of the refinement. You see? And yet, it was still pretty much accompanied by continuous some kind of movements. So, it's like, for some people who, if they will listen to this, they will feel like this is kind of a spiritual form of propaganda or something, like promoting your own thing. But it is just a matter of fact. Spirituality always was consisting of these two, let's say, phases or two areas. You know, it's like every scripture could be spoken in that same way. Exoteric and esoteric. This is esoteric. This is the internal dimension. And that internal dimension brings about all this display. And it was never comfortable. Nobody ever was comfortable about this. In any culture. In any culture, except perhaps in pre-religious times, when all spirituality was one way or another shamanic. Because this work contains a lot of these elements. I don't speak about it, but it is a fact. It contains a lot of this, and it will become clearer, hopefully, because that's the theme also of our immersion. Samavesha is inseparable from that. So, you're not missing anything. In fact, you are very much in that same, in roaring sports, roarers, the guys who do the roaring. Of course, they all there, and it's this academic, synchronized, they're different kinds. The fascinating one, when many of them in the same boat, many of them. There's double, but when many of them, they are all distributed according to the power. They're not all equal. You see, everyone performs something, but it has to be completely and utterly synchronized. Completely and utterly synchronized, you see. The front row is where the most power is, the powerhouse, you see. But it doesn't mean that he is driving the boat, see. So you are just roaring just as much as everyone else. So it doesn't mean that you're not adding your voice if you're not vocalizing, see. So Goddess expresses herself differently here, see? So I used to say that holding a silent key, see? So holding a silent key there. I used to say that kind of. But yeah, well, when we also in our discourses go back to just periodically we will lean on what we have outlined. When we spoke about these upayas, for example, right? And when we will speak about the first of the samavesha, right? We determined today we will give attention to only 3. Samavesha's penetration. It's pertinent and unique to Tantric Shaivism. But scholars agreed that it is applicable and relevant to all spiritual traditions without exception. All of them. That's the universality of the Tantric Shaivism. Because whether we like it or not, there is always individual level of energetic transformation, energetic, let's say, quality, which is the activity of the consciousness, and the ultimate level, the level of the highest level, the level where it is not at all spoken nor applicable at the individual level. At all traditions and all spiritual and all religions even, this is applicable. So, the same way, the transformation of consciousness is not a leapfrog through mental understanding. So this is also needs to be clearly understood, because many people came to declare that they just want to understand and have clear cut Then you go and spend time with this teacher and that teacher and sit there. For 20 years you can sit and listen to that. And let's see. But then people wake up there. And when they wake up in that setting, they realize there's nothing there. Absolutely, there's nothing. You see? Because the real deal now happening. And this is exactly what I myself experienced. I thought it's all about just sitting down, close your eyes, meditate, and then one day I will close my eyes and I'll open them and I'll be enlightened. It's just I need to decide, like one day I will decide. I will meditate instead of 40 minutes, an hour. This 20 minutes will make a radical difference. It will break me free. No, instead, stuff had to come out of all my pores, virtually, literally. And as it was spinning itself out, I could smell something burning outside in the autumn. In Uzbekistan, they burn leaves. Only to realize it's the friction of my butt against the mattress. Yeah, it was burning, like literally, as the fabric starts to smell as if it's about to ignite, So, go figure. Anyway, proof of the pudding is in the eating anyway. It's just so simple there. Thank you, Abram.